This is your place. This is where you'll serve America best. Your future's in the sky.
Since the dawn of the Air Force Reserve has stood ready to help protect America when needed.
You see, the way the Air Force Reserves feel about it, they're fighting and they're flying for the safety of our people at home, our mothers and fathers and our sisters and brothers. America will have overwhelming superiority in the air. To keep that war from our own shores, our cities and our homes. Vengeance against those who would destroy our way of life.
Our 70,000 citizen airmen come from all walks of life.
Probably many from your own neighborhood.
Who all share a love of country and a passion for service.
Now make no mistake about this thing. The pilot is not the most important fellow inside this plane. It's teamwork. And each member of the team is just as important as the next one.
Most importantly, our citizen airmen bring a diverse skill set to support the fight. In air, space, and cyberspace.
We're fighting today and tomorrow and the next day until we win is a war of the air.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Joint Base McGuire-Dix Lakehurst, New Jersey. We are gathered to pay special tribute to Chief Master Sergeant Christopher J. Hofrichter upon his retirement from the United States Air Force after 38 years of faithful and honorable service to our nation. The ceremony that you will witness this afternoon is deeply rooted in military tradition. As an Air Force member is retired, their fellow airmen pause to pay special tribute to their long and accomplished career. I am Chief Master Sergeant Jim Canna from the 514th Maintenance Group, your narrator for today's ceremony. The proffer for today's event is Senior Airman William Bardarji. Presiding over today's ceremony is Colonel Matthew W. Bianchini, Commander, 514th Maintenance Group. Throughout today's ceremony, you will be given various cues to stand and be seated at the appropriate times. As a reminder for our military guests, this is an outdoor event. Also, during the national anthem, our civilian guests should place their right hand over their heart. Ladies and gentlemen, please rise for the arrival of the official party and remain standing for the presentation of the colors by members of our own 514th Maintenance Group. The singing of our national anthem will be sung by Technical Sergeant Antoine Hicks of the 514th Aircraft Maintenance Squadron, and the invocation will be provided by United States Navy retired Chief Petty Officer Arlen Davis.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare upon clouds bursting in air gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave.
Let us pray. Eternal Heavenly Father, we want to take a moment to thank you for the beautiful day you have given us to gather together today. It is with thankful hearts that we lift our prayer to you as together we celebrate this chapter in the life of Chief Master Sergeant Chris Hofrichter. We are very grateful for the safety you have given to all who have traveled here from far and near. We thank you for the friends and family who were able to join with us here. His wife Karen and daughter Kinsey, mother-in-law Mary Gower, brother-in-law Rich, and sister-in-law Janet. And from miles away, his mom Sylvia and brother Mike and his wife Denise and their son Luke, and other family in Virginia and Pennsylvania and Ohio via the electronic technology that we have with us. It is with humble gratefulness we give thanks for all those who have sacrificed to put this event together to honor Chief Hofrichter. We thank you for the life, the skill, and dedication of this man, for the investment that he has made in the lives of so many. We are so grateful for the sacrifice he has made for the airmen he has worked with, as well as the investment and influence he has had in the lives of so many other members of the United States Armed Forces. We also thank you for the great sacrifice his wife Karen and daughter Kinsey have made. Their sacrifice has also been an investment in the lives of service members, and it allowed him to faithfully serve his country and the United States Air Force. We ask your blessing on this ceremony and all who participate. May every aspect of this time bring all glory to you. In that name that is above every name, amen.
Ladies and gentlemen, please be seated. Thank you, Tech Sergeant Hicks, for your outstanding rendering of our national anthem. And Chief Petty Officer Davis for that inspiring invocation. Thank you again. Well, we have with us today many distinguished guests. While we consider all of our guests special, time prevents us from recognizing each of them individually. And trust me, the list that Chris gave me, oh my God, it was huge. So we're gonna keep this down. He knows a lot of folks. So, however, please extend a warm Freedom Wing welcome to Commander 514th Air Mobility Wing, Colonel Thomas Pemberton, and his wife, Mrs. Dawn Pemberton. Vice Commander 514th Air Mobility Wing, Colonel Adrian Byers. Command Chief 514th Air Mobility Wing, Chief Master Sergeant Dana Capaldi, and her husband, Mr. Shane Capaldi. Command Chief 305th Air Mobility Wing, Chief Master Sergeant Rudy Gomez. Mrs. Natalie Bianchini. Chief Enlisted Manager, 514th Maintenance Group, Chief Master Sergeant Len Werner. Deputy Commander, 514th Maintenance Group, Lieutenant Colonel Joseph Zacharitz. Commander, 305th Maintenance Group, Colonel Mary Teeter. Deputy Commander, 305th Maintenance Group, Mr. Dominic Perino. Acting Commander, 514th Maintenance Squadron, Captain Adam Harrison. Superintendent, 514th Maintenance Squadron, Chief Master Sergeant Terry Consolazio. Former Commander, 514th Maintenance Group, Colonel Anthony Esposito, retired. Former Commander, 514th Maintenance Group, Colonel Oresti Varela, retired. Former Superintendent, 514th Maintenance Group, Chief Master Sergeant Linda Menzer. And former Superintendent, 514th Maintenance Group, Chief Master Sergeant Chris Young. And now please join me in a warm welcome to the family and friends of Chief Hofrichter. And we might want to hold our applause to the end. This is a long one. Chief Hofrichter's wife, Karen, his daughter, Kinsey, his mother-in-law, Mary Ann Gower, his sister-in-law, Janet Branco, and her husband, Rich Branco. Joining us via Facebook Live and YouTube from Atlanta, Georgia, the Chief's mother, Sylvia Hofrichter, his brother, former United States Air Force Lieutenant Mike Hofrichter, along with his wife, Denise, and son, Luke. From Yorktown, Virginia, his uncle, Richard Juby, along with his wife, United States Air Force retired Major Helene Juby. From Cleveland, Ohio, the Chief's cousin, former United States Army Specialist Tom Hines, along with his wife Kathy and daughter Michelle. From Columbus, Ohio, the Chief's cousin Sam Capizzi and his wife Cindy. From the town of Bellevue, Ohio, his cousin Rosemarie Charter, along with her husband Bob. His cousin Mary Perkins and her husband, former United States Marine Corps Lance Corporal Gene Perkins. The Chief's cousin, former United States Army Sergeant Wally Perry. His cousin Carrie Beatty and husband Greg. His cousin Tony Perry, his cousin Jenny. And the Chief's numerous other family members in Ohio who are viewing us as well. Welcome. I don't know if we missed a district in Ohio on that one. I think we got them all covered on that. Okay, we would also like to welcome all commanders, chiefs, first sergeants, Joint Base McGuire-Dix Lakehurst members, and other guests from the local community have joined us today. Welcome. Ladies and gentlemen, I now present to you Colonel Matthew Bianchini, Commander, 514th Maintenance Group.
Luckily for that extensive list of guests, that shortened my speech by about 20 minutes. Wow, what a turnout. This is absolutely awesome. Colonel Pemberton, Dawn, thank you for being here and supporting Colonel Byers, Chief Capaldi. My lovely wife, thank you, but you had to be here. Chief Warner, Colonel Zach, Mary, thank you for being here. Chief Perino, it's real nice to see our total force partners supporting us and participating in these events. It means a lot. Thank you so much. Colonel Esposito, I'm up here. It's your fault. So if anybody's a problem, blame him. Colonel Varela, it's great to see you. Chief Young, you know I'm looking for something. You don't have it, so we'll talk later. Linda, I see you every day. Karen, Kinsey, you get him back full time now. Lucky you. I can see the excitement on your face. I know your mom, Sylvie, I know you're out there in Georgia. Hopefully you can hear us. We're really glad that you can join us virtually. Wish you could be here in person. But I just want to let you know from a person that's known your son for a very long time, you raised a good man, a great airman, and an even greater American. Thank you for that. To the Chief's brother Mike and his wife Denise and their son Luke, thank you for joining us as well. Once again, wish you could be here in person, but current restrictions have prevented us from doing that. Karen's mom, Mary Ann, thank you for joining us. I guess you like him as your son-in-law? He's okay, yeah? Yeah, well, she kept him around for a while, so. And to Janet and Rich Branco, thank you for joining us as well. The rest of your family and friends, thank you for being here. We already went through the list, so I don't want to miss somebody because I know he'll never let me live it down. And to the Chief's extended family at the Columbus Baptist Church and the Bordentown Veterans Memorial community, thank you so much for being here with us. I know it means a lot to us as Team McGuire, but more importantly, it means the world to the Chief. Thank you so much for being here. So let's take a little trip down memory lane. Let's do a little flashback to 1964. That was one heck of a year. Prices were a little different than they are now. A gallon of gas was 30 cents. Average cost of a new home was $20,000. The top movie was Mary Poppins, the old one, not the new one. Bonanza was the #1 show on TV. Paul Siglock was about 20 years old watching it back then. The Cardinals beat the Yankees in the World Series. Anybody that beats the Yankees is okay with me, so. Yeah, whatever, sit down. Lyndon Johnson was elected president that year. Cassius Clay, you might know him as Muhammad Ali, beat Sonny Liston for the heavyweight championship. The Beatles invaded America that year, and their movie A Hard Day's Night was #1, was in the top 10. And Martin Luther King Jr. won the Nobel Peace Prize that year. However, another event that you will not see in any history book, but critical to the future success of our Air Force and the defense of our nation, a true air power pioneer, an icon, if you will, was born on August 3rd of that year. That person, that legend, Christopher Hofrichter. I'd share some stories from the mid to late 90s, but due to the audience, I shall not. So, the Chief was destined for the military way of life. Being born into a military family at Womack Army Hospital in Fort Bragg, his future was pretty much predetermined for him. In 1967, him and his family moved to Bellevue, Ohio, when his father deployed to Vietnam. And I want to take a couple of minutes to talk about his father, retired Colonel Francis Hofrichter. Colonel Hofrichter deployed to Vietnam, where he was awarded the Bronze Star for meritorious achievement in ground operations against hostile forces. Additionally, for those of you that might know your history, Colonel Hofrichter was also one of the chief architects behind what's known as Operation Bright Star. That's a joint multilateral, multinational military exercise that's held every 2 years in Egypt. This exercise started back in 1980 after the Camp David Accords were signed. This is a very important exercise for international relations, and it's played a pivotal role in our relations with Egypt over the years. His father was key to that happening and making that happen. In 1968, the family then moved to Alexandria, Virginia, when the Chief's dad was stationed at the Pentagon. A couple years after that, another PCS moved them to Bangkok, Thailand, when the Chief's father was assigned to the Joint U.S. Military Assistance Group. In 1972, the family moved back to the U.S., and between 72 and 73 moved between Fort Leavenworth and Fort McPherson. In 77, that overseas call came again, and this time to the Military Traffic Command of the United Kingdom. This move is key to where the Chief is today. This move is an important point in the Chief's life that made him part of this Air Force family and made him the airman that he is. While attending school in RAF Woodridge, the flight line was directly across from the school. The Chief and his friends back then had the opportunity during their lunch break to watch the F-4s taxi and take off, and that was it. That's when the Chief knew he wanted a career in the Air Force. So at 17, at a MEP station in Fairfax, Virginia, on 25 May 1982, the Chief raised his right hand and started his Air Force journey. He started as a hydraulic systems mechanic, better known as a bubble chaser for those of us that understand that, on the C-141B aircraft right here at McGuire in 1983. During his career as a hydraulics mechanic, he was stationed here at McGuire, Clark Air Base, Philippines, Goose Bay, Labrador, Helenacon Air Base, Greece, Rhoda, Spain, Cairo, Egypt, Wright-Patterson. And during his journey, he also participated in a number of missions that took him to Turkey, Panama, Guatemala, Greenland, and Germany. In 1991, after his return from the Philippines, another key event in his life, he met the then Karen Gower, who is now his wife. They maintained a friendship for 12 years. It took you 12 years and you still married him. We question your sanity. Before starting to date in 2003, they were eventually married in 2005. Prior to one of Hof's many deployments in 2006, Karen found out that she was pregnant, and on May 23, 2007, Kinsey was born. Now, following in her dad's footsteps, Kinsey is currently a cadet with the Civil Air Patrol's McGuire Composite Squadron of the New Jersey Wing. This happens to be the oldest wing in the Civil Air Patrol, established in 1941, and arguably the most storied Civil Air Patrol wing, having been credited with 2 German U-boat kills off the Jersey Shore during World War II. That's pretty awesome. I've learned a lot of history from talking to you and reading your bio. In 1995, the chief moved over to Big Sexy, the KC-10 extender, the aircraft you see behind us here on stage. In his capacity as a hydraulics mechanic and a flying crew chief, the chief deployed a number of times to the United Arab Emirates and Qatar, while also supporting missions to Japan, Australia, Wake Island, Korea, Singapore, Vietnam, Thailand, Alaska, Guam, England, Germany, Italy, Crete, Honduras, Diego Garcia, Canada, Cuba, and the skies over Iraq and Kuwait. That read like your guest list. It went on and on. Throughout his career, Hof was recognized multiple times, but there were a couple that I want to call out specifically because I think they speak to Hof. They speak to him as an airman and as a person and as a leader. In 1991, then Sergeant Hofrichter was credited for the expeditious movement of military personnel and equipment during the eruption of Mount Pinatubo, I think I pronounced that right, on the island of Guam. In 2006, he was awarded an Achievement Medal and recognized by 22nd Air Force with the Ground Safety Well Done Award for his actions in identifying and extinguishing an aircraft fire on a wingtip of a KC-10. And I quote out of the decoration: "Despite the potential for catastrophic damage to the aircraft and harm to personnel, he remained calm and in complete control of the situation and fought the fire while directing other maintenance personnel to declare a ground emergency and call 911. He coordinated efforts to the Tanker Airlift Control Center and Boeing to repair the aircraft and return it to home station." That speaks volumes about the chief's character, his personality, and those of us that have worked with him, we know that's exactly how he is. No matter what the event, no matter what the discrepancy might have been, he maintained a level head, took it head on, and just led whatever that situation might have been. The Chief's been nominated and won numerous annual and quarterly awards to include 4 Senior NCO of the Year awards, Reserve Associate Senior NCO of the Year award, the 514th Air Mobility Wing Mitchell Cup, and the highly coveted General Leo Marquez Award. And these are just a few of the many career highlights. So when we do these retirements, we like to go through EPRs, try to get a feel for the person, which was easy, knowing the man for 30 plus years. But I wanted to get insight as to what other individuals might have wrote about him in an EPR. So his EPRs included words such as superior technical skills and dedication, team player, the model airman, his professional military bearing and appearance are second to none, displays a positive attitude towards each endeavor no matter what the circumstances, pride and professionalism, passionately supports, best of the best, undisputed expert, utmost degree of exactitude and attention to detail. I actually wrote that one, so I know it was true. Compassionate warrior and leader. So those of you who have the honor to work with Hof, you know that these all ring true. Hof is the guy that's invited to a party. He said he's going to be there. And to keep his word, he shows up at 10:30 while we're pretty much, anyway, with a bottle of wine saying, "Sir, I'm sorry I'm late, but I said I'd be here, here I am." He's the guy that when some colonel's motorcycles broke down the parking lot, he stays with him and drives him around for hours on end trying to find a battery for his bike. No names mentioned, but his last name might have rhymed with Shmiankini. He probably should have been home having dinner with his family, but he stayed here with me until I got it fixed and was able to get home. And if those of you that know him know that's the kind of individual he is. Hoff, I want to say congratulations. It's been an honor to work with you, more of an honor for you to ask me to do this for you. This is a big deal. I don't know what my career would have been like without you in it. I'm sure many airmen in this room, many commanders in this room would say the same thing and the same sentiment. I thank you for years of service. Thank you for your friendship, your camaraderie, your leadership. I wish you all the best going forward. Karen, I wish you more luck than him because you'll need it with him full time. But thank you for everything. God bless you. And I'm sure we'll be seeing you around.
Thank you, sir, for those kind words. I'm pretty sure Chief Hofrichter appreciates them all. Ladies and gentlemen, please rise for the presentation of the Meritorious Service Medal and the publishing of the Retirement Order. Attention to orders. The United States of America, to all who shall see these presents, greeting. This is to certify that the President of the United States of America, authorized by Executive Order 16 January 1969, has awarded the Meritorious Service Medal, 4th Oak Leaf Cluster, to Chief Master Sergeant Christopher J. Hofrichter for meritorious service 20 March 2016 to 1 September 2020. Chief Master Sergeant Christopher J. Hofrichter distinguished himself in the performance of outstanding service to the United States as Squadron Superintendent, 514th Maintenance Squadron, 514th Maintenance Group, 514th Air Mobility Wing, Joint Base, McGuire-Dix, Lakehurst, New Jersey, from 20 March 2016 to 1 September 2020. During this period, Chief Hofrichter's outstanding leadership, professional skill, and ceaseless efforts were essential to the effectiveness and success of the squadron, group, and wing. Chief Hofrichter led 118 total force maintainers, accomplishing more than 100,000 C-17 home station check and KC-10A A-check maintenance items, resulting in a 100% return to service rate and a 98% on-time first flight departure rate. These labors directly contributed to greater than 120,000 flying hours and in excess of 24,000 sorties, sustaining worldwide contingency operations. Additionally, he orchestrated the maintenance and overhaul of 322 ground support equipment items, producing more than 730 maintenance actions, thereby maintaining a vital capability, propelling 35,000 dispatches that supported 18,000 missions. Furthermore, Chief Hofrichter managed a $1.6 million budget, generating 4,500 man days for 75 maintainers, bolstering combatant commander requirements. His efforts directly contributed to the group winning the 2016 Chief James K. Klaus Trophy for Maintenance Excellence. The singularly distinctive accomplishments of Chief Hofrichter culminate a long and distinguished career in the service of his country and reflect great credit upon himself and the United States Air Force. Given under my hand, 28 August 2020, Matthew W. Bianchini, Colonel, United States Air Force, Commander, 514th Maintenance Group.
Publish the order.
Attention to orders. By direction of the Secretary of the Air Force, effective 1 September 2020, Chief Master Sergeant Christopher J. Hofrichter is retired from the United States Air Force after over 38 years of faithful and honorable service per Special Order EK 3135. That's not it. that's not it. Ladies and gentlemen, please be seated. At this time, the retirement certificate will be presented to Chief Hofrichter, which reads, "The Certificate of Retirement from the Armed Forces of the United States of America. To all who shall see these presents, greeting. This is to certify that Chief Master Sergeant Christopher J. Hofrichter, having served faithfully and honorably, is retired from the United States Air Force on the first day of September 2020. Signed, General David L. Goldfein, Chief of Staff of the Air Force, and Lieutenant General Richard W. Scobie, Commander, Air Force Reserve Command." Within the same binder, Chief Hofrichter is also receiving a certificate of appreciation from the President of the United States. It reads, "I extend to you my personal thanks and sincere appreciation of a grateful nation for your contribution and honorable service to our country. You have helped maintain the security of the nation during a crucial time in its history with a devotion to duty and a spirit of sacrifice in keeping with the proud traditions of military service. I trust that in the coming years, you will maintain an active interest in the armed forces and the purpose for which you served. Those who will follow in your footsteps will draw inspiration from your commitment, dedication, and sacrifices made to ensure the protection of our American freedoms. My best wishes to you for happiness and success in the future." Signed, Donald J. Trump, Commander-in-Chief. At this time, I'd like to ask Chief Hofrichter's wife, Karen, to please join him on stage. Every retiree receives a special retirement pin as a memento of their military service. Karen? We'd like to ask you to place this pin on your husband's left lapel to symbolize his transition from active to retired status. Anyone associated with the armed forces knows the ups and downs of military life affect not only the military member, but also the spouses and children of those members. They must endure frequent moves and extended absences from their loved ones, all the while taking care of the family and home. It is their loving dedication and support that allows us in the profession of arms to serve our country with pride. Mrs. Hofrichter, the Air Force recognizes that your undying dedication and support have been invaluable to your husband and to the United States Air Force. This is why we would like to honor you today. Certificate of Appreciation from the United States Air Force. It reads, "In grateful appreciation, the United States Air Force presents this certificate of recognition to Karen Hofrichter for the commitment and numerous contributions that made positive impacts to the nation's defense. Thank you for the support which gave strength and purpose to your spouse's service. Given this first day of September 2020, signed, General David L. Goldfein, Chief of Staff of the Air Force, and Lieutenant General Richard W. Scobie, Commander, Air Force Reserve Command." Karen, please remain on stage while Colonel Bianchini presents you with the Military Spouses Medal. The spouse does not wear a uniform, yet they serve their country. They do not acquire nor wear ribbons showing where they have been, yet they go. They did not ask for the duty they perform, yet they unwaveringly serve to the best of their abilities. They serve, yet are not honored with trinkets or pieces of cloth showing their service. The burning candle on the medallion signifies the lonely nights you have spent and that you have kept the home fires burning. A symbol with no beginning and no end, the ring around the candle flame symbolizes the undying flame of love for your spouse. The image of the rose is for the unwavering devotion you have shown for your spouse and their service to their country. This medal is gratefully given to those who do not ask, those who stay on the home front so their spouse can serve, for they also proudly serve their country. Always remembered, never forgotten. And now we'd like Miss Kinsey Hofrichter to please join us on stage for the presentation of the Child Certificate of Appreciation. The certificate reads, "Throughout the years of your life, you have made sacrifices and you have served your country as much as I have done. In your loving way, you quietly shouldered the heavy burden that you were asked to carry. Most of the time, you could not understand why I was not there, but you quietly hid the tears, courageously put on a smile, and defiantly promised that you would support me. You were then, as now, one of the most important parts of my life, and it was your love that enabled you to assure me that what I was doing was important. I am proud of you, for it was your love and support that sustained me in those difficult times. There's no way in my mind that I could have been a success in the military without having your support, your understanding, and most importantly, your unquestionable love. Thank you for being there for me. Always remembered, never forgotten." And now at this time, Chief Hofrichter would like to present flowers of appreciation to his family. Ladies and gentlemen, in appreciation of 38 years of honorable and dedicated service to this great nation, Chief Hofrichter will now be presented with mementos from fellow airmen from across the wing. First up, members of the 514th Aircraft Maintenance Squadron.
So, 1982, I was 7 years old. But I first met Chief Hofrichter when I actually arrived at McGuire in January of '95. He was in the 714th. He had just came over from the 141 side. As soon as I met him, I knew, he was a chief back then. This is the guy that everybody wanted to do the jobs for him. The great and all-knowing, knows this airplane like the back of his hand. And you see that there's a theme here. You guys, there's a Bible underneath your guys' chairs. Chief Hofrichter is a very spiritual person. It's family, God, country. And what do you get for somebody who has everything? So I don't know if anybody of you have been in his office when he was a superintendent of Maintenance Squadron, but it's like walking into a museum. Right? He's got everything. So we're racking our brains trying to figure out what to get you. And you know, it was pretty clear when we saw what was hanging on our wall. So this is our unit crest. So Pro Patria means for one's country, and I can't find anything more fitting than to give you. So thank you for everything you've done for us for the 514th Aircraft Maintenance Squadron, and good luck with your retirement. Thank you.
And now, next up, the 514th Maintenance Squadron.
Maintenance!
Over the last 5 years, we've learned a lot about Chief Hofrichter. He's actually rubbed off on some of us a little bit. Air power. Air power. We wanted to get him something he would really love, and we pulled all our money together because we know he likes Jeeps, but we couldn't afford one. So we went with the next best thing: United States Air Force and United States flag.
Wow. Thank you, Chief. I appreciate it. Ryan, honor, thank you, brother. I appreciate it, man. Corey, thanks, my friend. Godspeed to you, brother. I love you, man. Up against the thanks, man. Captain.
Yes. Ladies and gentlemen, Captain Harrison.
So, for those who don't know, this is the maintenance man, which we present to maintainers that have had a long and impactful career, and Chief Hoff has definitely had that. So, from the 514th, it's an honor to be able to give this to you. One more thing to note on this, for the past 20 years or so that we've been giving out this award, it's always been the same, and the maintainer has had a bag and had a rag, and it's kind of been an older image. So they wanted to update the maintenance man. So if you notice, it looks a little bit different. The person has a DTOS and looks a little bit different, but the person who made it actually modeled it after Chief Hoff. So he sent him a picture, and if this looks familiar, that's who it is. So, so we'll be giving these out within the maintenance unit for years to come, and it just sort of speaks to the impact that the Chief has had. So I just want to say thank you, and good luck with everything.
Thanks, sir. I appreciate it.
Haircut looks a little out of regs on that photo there, so I'll be honest with you.
It was COVID.
Was it a COVID haircut? Okay, great. And now next up, the 514th Maintenance Group.
Chief Blair. Wow.
Well, we want to give you something that. Something that kind of encompasses your career. Thank you. We wanted to give you something that somewhat encompassed your career, and I think this was very fitting. The state of New Jersey, you spent the majority of your Chief Stripes, your KC-10, your C-17, but more importantly, what's down there in the bottom left?
Charlie 141.
Charlie 141, right? This is what we cut our teeth on. And I thought it was meaningful to have that on here to really show that culmination of everything you've done. And it reads, without my glasses, Chief Master Sergeant Christopher J. Hofrichter, 28 December 1982 through 1 September 2020, Joint Base McGuire, Dix, Lakehurst, New Jersey. The citizen airmen of the 514th Maintenance Group, thank you for all of your years of faithful service to our great maintenance, to our great nation. Great nation. If you ain't maintenance, you ain't.
Got it.
I'd also like to thank the 514th Maintenance Squadron for making that gift happen. I appreciate the efforts on that.
The Chief, something next, right? Yep, I'm giving you this.
There you go. And last but definitely not least, the 514th Air Mobility Wing Chiefs Group. If I could have all Chiefs come on up.
Bring it up. Come on up, sir.
Oh, the other side.
You want to do the speaker? Okay. Hey, Chief. Chief, welcome aboard. Thank you for coming out. Chief means a lot. Yeah, Chief, Doctor. You can't swing a dead cat without hitting the Chief here. Oh, yeah.
Hey, y'all can slide it down just a little bit this way.
Yeah, let's not collapse the stage, though.
Yeah.
So, there's a lot of people here, a lot of people in the back, not just from the maintenance group, but from the whole Air Mobility Wing. Just a testament of how many people you've touched throughout your career, what you've done for this wing. You know, I don't know if you guys know, but Chief Hofrichter drives a Jeep Cherokee with the license plate that says Air Power on it. That's what he's all about, is air power. But more than that, he's about taking care of people. And he's been doing that for years. You know, whether you're doing it for your folks, for AMDS, for, you know, everybody. He does it for everyone. He cares. It's amazing. And, you know, we've got big shoes to fill. I don't think we could ever replace or do anything close to what you've ever done. And, you know, it means a lot. So, Chief Hofrichter, 1 June 2016 to 1 September 2020. Wingman, leader, warrior, chief. With sincere appreciation from the 514th Air Mobility Wing Chiefs Group for your steadfast dedication and tireless efforts to the mission and to our airmen. Thank you.
Chief, he wants you. She said everybody. He wants everybody. You want to hold it?
I think you said that was something else.
Ready to go in more?
Not sure.
All right. If you're sure to move up.
Come on, you come in front of me.
All right. Camera That's made us look much closer.
MC?
What's up, brother?
All right. Let's get this guy retired, huh? Yes, sir, we will. Let's get this guy retired. All right, friend. Let's get him retired, bro. All right. Chief?
Awesome TFI, man. Appreciate it.
All right, sir. All right.
Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, we now offer a tribute to Chief Hofrichter and the flag of the United States. Please remain seated. Chief Werner, please present the flag folding team.
First, I'd like to say I'm honored to be part of this retirement ceremony, and furthermore, honored to call Chief Hofrichter a friend, a brother in arms, and a fellow chief. For more than 200 years, the American flag has been the symbol of our nation's unity, as well as a source of pride and inspiration for millions of citizens. Born on June 14, 1777, the Second Continental Congress determined that the flag of the United States be 13 stripes, alternating between 7 red and 6 white, and that the Union be 13 stars, white in a blue field, representing a new constellation. Between 1777 and 1960, the shape and design of the flag evolved into the flag presented before you today. This unique flag has very special meaning for this ceremony. This flag does serve as Chief Hofrichter's retirement flag, as it will be folded for the last time and later placed in a display case. On 13 May of this year, and during the height of the COVID-19 pandemic, this flag was flown on the Chief's final mission aboard KC-10 tail number 870120. On this mission, the crew conducted a flyover of local hospitals to honor and thank frontline workers for their relentless battle of the pandemic and their dedication to saving the lives of our citizens. Lastly, and most importantly, this flag was flown over the United States Army Military Traffic Management Command, United Kingdom headquarters at Felixstowe, England from June 1977 to June 1979, while under the command of the Chief's father, the Lieutenant Colonel Francis P. Hofrichter. Colonel Hofrichter served this great nation with distinction, assigned to the famed 82nd Airborne Division and numerous other units over the course of a 27-year career. His assignments included tours in Korea, Thailand, Egypt, England, and various stateside posts. He served 2 tours in Vietnam, where he was awarded multiple Bronze Star medals for action taken while engaged with enemy forces. Colonel Hofrichter retired as the Deputy Commander for Logistics, Headquarters 3rd Army, Fort McPherson, Georgia. Colonel Hofrichter's final resting place is at Arlington National Cemetery, Section 68, Grave 3463. Colonel Hofrichter has undoubtedly continued to guide his son, Chief Hofrichter, during his honorable career as he positively impacted our great nation, the Air Force, and all of us who have had the honor to serve with him over the years. The 13 horizontal stripes represent the original 13 colonies, while the stars represent the 50 states of the Union. The colors of the flag are symbolic as well. Red symbolizes hardiness and valor, white signifies purity and innocence, and blue represents vigilance, perseverance, and justice. Traditionally, a symbol of liberty, the American flag has carried the message of freedom and inspired Americans both at home and abroad. In 1814, Francis Scott Key was so moved at seeing the stars and stripes waving after the British shelling of Baltimore's Fort McHenry that he wrote the words to the Star-Spangled Banner. In 1892, the flag inspired Francis Bellamy to write the Pledge of Allegiance, our most famous flag salute and patriotic oath. In July 1969, the American flag was flown in space when Neil Armstrong planted it on the surface of the moon. Today, our flag flies on constellations of Air Force satellites that circle our globe and on the fin flash of our aircraft in harm's way in every corner of the world. Indeed, it flies in the heart of every airman who serves our great nation. The sun never sets on our United States Air Force, nor on the flag that we so proudly cherish. Since 1776, no generation of Americans have been spared the responsibility of defending freedom. Today's airmen remain committed to preserving the freedom that others won for us for generations to come. By displaying the flag and giving it a distinctive fold, we show respect to the flag and express our gratitude to those individuals who fought and continue to fight for freedom at home and abroad. Since the dawn of the 20th century, airmen have proudly flown the flag in every major conflict on lands and skies around the world. It is their responsibility, our responsibility, to continue to protect and preserve the rights, privileges, and freedoms that we as Americans enjoy today. The United States flag represents who we are. It stands for the freedom we all cherish, the freedom we all share, and the pride and patriotism we feel for our country. We cherish its legacy as a beacon of hope to one and all. Long may it wave. Chief Hofrichter, as you begin your retirement, we wish to present to you what is known as the military member's most honored and cherished possession, the United States national flag. Accept it, protect it, guard it, and ever remember that the young men and women you have trained, guided, and inspired will follow in your footsteps and defend it with equal pride. Good luck and Godspeed.
Ladies and gentlemen, I have a nice round of applause for Chief Werner and that flag for OEP. It was a hell of a job. Well done. Chief Hofrichter. Excuse me. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, the moment you've all been waiting for. I am honored to present to you Chief Master Sergeant Christopher J. Hofrichter, United States Air Force, retired.
Thank you. Thank you. Please be seated. Thank you. So we typically ask for quiet hours during these events, but what you witnessed today from my family and friends was the undoubted sound of freedom. So, air power. I'm overwhelmed right now, so please bear with me, and I want to be respectful of your time because you guys have been here for a long time for me, and I certainly appreciate it. And all that I am and all that I ever will be, I owe to Jesus Christ, who loved me enough to die for me. To my military family, Colonel Bianchini, sir, thank you so much for standing up today and honoring me. I certainly appreciate it. Thank you so much. Chief Canna, thank you for the narration, for the flag detail, for the flag folding detail. Chief Petty Officer Davis, thank you so much. Tech Sergeant Antoine Hicks, always a home run for the national anthem. Thank you so much for that. Colonel Pemberton, sir, it's been an honor to be a chief in your wing, the great Freedom Wing. Mrs. Pemberton, thank you for being here. Colonel Byers, Chief Capaldi, thank you. Natalie, thank you for showing up. Chief Warner, Colonel Zacharitz. I want to give a special shout out to Colonel Teeter. Ma'am, thank you so much. You know, when I left active duty and took on a full-time position with the Reserve Forces, I kind of wanted to bring some of that flavor into the organization because I kind of realized that the way things were changing between the total force integration at that time, it was starting to morph because we just came out of the Persian Gulf War, or we were, just came out of it, where the Reserve Forces went from operational to sitting at home eating bonbons, and it really put us on the map as far as what we bring to the fight. But this TFI relationship is so vital, and I always try to operate at 150% better because you never hear anybody say those damn active duty guys. I always say those damn reservists, and I was very mindful of that. And I was also very mindful of bringing to the forefront what the tremendous airmen of the Reserve Forces bring to the fight, and I championed them on a daily basis and promoted their maintenance as much as I possibly could to get these guys on the map. They are phenomenal mechanics, and they're making a tremendous dent. Mr. Perino, Chief Master Sergeant, thank you, brother, for being out here. The display, the hangar, everything you see, there's approval processes and stuff like that, and I appreciate the staff making that happen as well. Thank you very much, Chief. Colonel Esposito, Colonel Varela, thank you so much. Colonel Hurley, thank you for being here as well. I gotta, in the interest of full disclosure, I gotta be honest, I have a love in my heart for colonels because I used to eat breakfast for one in the morning before I went off to school. And to what Colonel Bianchini was saying is true, that my dad influenced me in amazing ways, and I will speak to it in a minute about the impact that he had on my life and how I feel about this nation of ours and what it takes to maintain it. So, thank you. I love you, colonels. It's awesome, very much. Chief Young, I love you, brother. We chewed the same dirt together, and now you did. We got it done like a rock star, and you had a lot of faith in me and got me where I am today, and I appreciate it. Thank you so much. Chief Menzer, man, you want to talk about mentorship 101 and learning the nuts and bolts of an organization from the minutia of the administrivia on up. Outstanding job. Thank you, Chief. You made me a better chief. Lieutenant Colonel Chernowski, was an honor to be your chief with the 514th Maintenance Squadron. Thank you for being here, sir. Lieutenant Colonel Adam Tufts, who I saw rise through the ranks from an A1C avionics troop to a C-17 pilot. I'm proud of you, brother, and sad you can't be here. I love you. For the 514th Maintenance Squadron, maintenance through and through. To what the Colonel was saying earlier, just a synopsis, along with the total force integration of what we all bring to the fight here. 120,000 plus maintenance inspection items complied with in concert with the 305th, performed duty in over 28 stateside and overseas locations. The MXS, we deployed you 7 times to the AOR, wrenched on an aircraft that took out al-Baghdadi, and it was a Navy C-130, and we helped those guys get out of Dodge. When I pinned on Chief, I called my daughter Kinsey to the stage, and as she sat on my knee, I told her to look out at all of you. Great Americans who would have my back as much as I've had yours. I pray I've lived up to your expectations as your superintendent. You have made this nation proud, and I'm honored to have been your chief. To the full-time leadership team, Chief Terry Consolazio, Chief Master Sergeant Bruce Savage, Senior Master Sergeant Ryan Convey, Master Sergeant Corey Shagg, Master Sergeant Kyle Fuller, Master Sergeant Ryan Miller. You guys made me look good every single day and made the business of the squadron easy for me. Thank you so much for your dedication, for supporting this chief. You loved me a lot, and I pray that I returned it in kind. I want to thank Major Betts, Jasmine Johengen, Senior Airman Bardaji, the escorts, thank you so much. Lee and Ricky Vetter for sacrificing their time to come out to put the multimedia together to get this out to my family. I certainly appreciate it. Friends that are here via YouTube, my original OGs, the original gangsters of the hydraulic shop, Warren Macon, Marshall McAllister, Ben Ramsey, Tech Sergeant Steve Selden, who taught me what it meant to be an effective maintainer at a young age. To Master Sergeants Bob Kohler, Dave Dorsey, Tech Sergeant Jim Morrison, who taught me all I needed to know about the KC-10 maintenance. They are the best of the best. Senior Master Sergeant Bob Callow and Chris Davey, who kept me focused on the mission during our first deployment to the AOR after 9/11. Master Sergeant Corinne Alvord, Senior Master Sergeant Tracy Forsman and Todd James, Chief Christian, Chief Counts, Chief Muniz, Jim and Maxine, my friends, God love you. I love you guys. My early on Air Force buddies, Randy and Phil. Randy had a horrific motorcycle accident a couple years ago, was in a coma for six weeks, and it almost cost him his life, and it was a terrifying time for me. I love you, brother. Glad you're here. And to Kathy Gaston, who's known me since I was a baby hydro troop in 1984, thank you for your friendship over the past 36 years. To the Key Men's Ministry, Isaac, Jim, Dave, Gary, Claude, Fred, Pastor John, who is currently in Michigan. He couldn't be here to attend his father's funeral, who was a World War II Pacific veteran. He just passed away. Thank you so much for the spiritual leadership and keeping me honest and in truth. I love you guys. The Bordentown Memorial Committee, Mayor Collum, Bruce, Jim, and Marguerite, thank you so much. We did a wonderful thing with that memorial. There's 1,800 names on that wall, all Bordentown city residents, all going back to every conflict since the founding of this nation. And by all records, we're looking at there's less than 3 of those in the whole country. And these guys, I came on board a little bit late in the project, and they just nailed it out of the park. And we just honor our veterans every single day. And Bordentown is a great city for veterans. We love our veterans there. And it's an honor to serve on the board with you guys. Thank you very much. To my cousins in Columbus, Ohio, Sam and Cindy, your influence on my life made me a better man. To my family in Bellevue, Ohio, cousins Jenny, Tony, Karen, Wally, Mary, Jean, and Rosemary. My cousin in Cleveland, Ohio, Tom, along with Kathy and Michelle. My aunt and uncle in Yorktown, Virginia, Richard and Helene. My uncle Terry and Aunt Janet out in Johnstown, PA. You provided home base for a couple of military brats who were constantly moving around, and you showed us tremendous love, and you kept us grounded. My brother Mike, I got too much to say about you, brother. You took care of me in ways I can never repay. I love you. And to his wife, Denise, and son, Luke. To my mom, Sylvia. It was tough, all the deployments that my dad went on, raising 2 kids. You raised a chief, Mom. Thank you very much. I love you. My sister and brother-in-law, Janet and Rich, and my mother-in-law, Mary Ann. I love you guys very much. The best in-laws ever. Thank you for your love and support. I love you. To my beautiful daughter, Kinsey. The day you were born was the day God showed me what unconditional love was all about. I'm proud of you and the young lady you've become. And to Karen, the love of my life, I'm here because of you, because of your love for me enough to share me with this great Air Force and profession of arms. And every day since we got married, I put the uniform on, I walked out that door, and I strove to honor this family and defend our way of life. I love you deeply, and I'm looking forward to spending more time with you. Thank you, baby, for being the motivation behind the chief. I love you. Thanks also to Mike Finicos and Leslie for being here, my friends and neighbors. Thank you. I know the list is long and there's many I may have overlooked, I'm sure, but I put it out there not to bore anyone in this room, but as a tacit admission of what it takes to grow a chief. I pray I've honored our friendships and our family name with my service, and I've lived up to the standards that these stripes demand. On 28 December 1982, I swore an oath before God to support and defend the Constitution of the United States against all enemies, foreign and domestic, that I would bear true faith and allegiance to the same, that I would obey the orders of the officers appointed over me in accordance with regulations of the Uniform Code of Military Justice. What I've come away with 38 years later is so much more than I ever could have thought possible. You see, I've had the honor of serving this great nation and of witnessing God's creation via missions to over 35 countries. I've experienced the good, the bad, and the ugly from both ground level and from altitudes between 400 feet to 39,000 feet, and I've been blessed along the way with beautiful and loving wife and daughter, and with friendships that will last a lifetime with people like Mary Ganesh, who kept me in the faith, keeping me moving to be a great leader. Thank you, Mary. I've also experienced the sorrow and loss of some great Americans who I've had the honor to bust knuckles and chew the same dirt with and be of the same profession. Among them, Staff Sergeant Elmer Smith, Staff Sergeant Logan Sampson, Tech Sergeant John Braswell, Senior Airman Frankie Walker, Staff Sergeant Ben Alstrom, Master Sergeant Mustafa Samatali, Master Sergeant Reuben Robin, and Kathy, I didn't know your dad, Master Sergeant George Gaston, but I knew the man he was. I know he loves you and he's proud of you. General George S. Patton once wrote on combat that it's foolish to mourn the men who died. Rather, we should thank God that such men lived. These were patriots all, warriors who put it all on the line every single day. I, like many of you, made the decision to serve something greater than ourselves, to put everything on the line in order to defend this noble idea, this grand declaration that all are created equal, endowed by their Creator with unalienable rights, life, liberty, pursuit of happiness. The greatest nation on earth, God breathed at its inception. I've seen it and experienced a lot throughout my life and career, all due to my birthright as a citizen of the United States of America and of being born into a military family. My upbringing as the son of an Army colonel stationed in faraway places such as Bangkok, Thailand, while my father spent tours of duty fighting in Vietnam, and RAF Woodbridge in England during his command of the Military Traffic Management Command, United Kingdom headquarters, and growing up hoisting the American flag on the pole at my paternal grandmother's house on Lake Pymatuning on the western border of PA and Ohio on the rare occasion when the whole family was together, and spending summers with my maternal grandparents, immigrants from Sicily via Ellis Island, living in the small town of Bellevue, Ohio. You see, my perspective of these great United States and the sacrifices required to maintain the freedom that is available to all who come to its shores has been seared into my conscience since my birth. When I was a buck sergeant assigned to Hellinikon Air Base, Greece as a C-141 hydraulic systems technician, I experienced firsthand the devastating power of a vehicle-borne explosive device that went off 300 yards in front of me long before the term IED was ever used. This solidified my resolve that what I was doing in this uniform was important enough that people wanted us dead. And while stationed in the Philippines and living through the eruption of Mount Pinatubo, just 8 miles from Clark Air Base, and having the great fortune of being in the airlift community with the unique position of helping evacuate dependent spouses and children, which validated the goodness and the compassion of this call to service. I've been blessed to experience the joy of re-enlisting on the cargo deck of a C-141 while the pilot was circling over Mount Rainier at 10,000 feet in Washington State, and the awesome pride of watching the American flag raised during a sunrise over the scorched desert landscape of the Middle East when it wore. I owe a debt to this United States Air Force, a debt to those whose blood has soaked the earth, both here and abroad, while wearing this uniform, and a debt to this nation, which I can never repay. This great and noble nation, land of the free, home of the brave, the nation that went to war with itself to abolish slavery at the expense of United States President and 363,000 of your brothers in arms. This nation that welcomes the poor, tired, huddled masses yearning to be free from oppressed nations around the world. This nation, whose military has executed well over 250 humanitarian missions since 1975 alone. This nation that has given up over 1.2 million of its sons and daughters over the span of close to 250 years. This nation whose constitution provides the opportunity to right itself. These are the things a great and noble nation does. Tell me what other nation throughout history has done any of it. And I'm standing by for an answer. Yeah, that's what I thought. In 1831, a French sociologist and political theorist by the name of Alexandre de Tocqueville traveled to the United States to observe this freshly born nation over a 9-month period of time, and upon return wrote to what is arguably the most influential book of the 19th century, titled American Democracy. I recommend it, which pointed out the greatness of the United States. But in it he wrote, "I sought for the greatness and genius of America in her commodious harbors and her ample rivers, and it was not there. In her fertile fields and boundless forests, and it was not there. In her rich mines and her vast world commerce, and it was not there. In her democratic Congress and her matchless Constitution, and it was not there. Not until I went to the churches of America and heard her pulpits aflame with righteousness did I understand the secret of her genius and power. America is great because she is good, and if America ever ceases to be good, she will cease to be great. And to that I tell each of you that this nation is only as good as its citizenry." That puts a lot of pressure on us, those who are standing in the gap. You know, the sheepdogs who throughout our history have kept the wolves at bay. This life in uniform will exact a toll. The cost of freedom comes at a hefty price tag, and fortunately there will always be those that will put their lives on the line for this idea that this grand declaration of unimpeachable truth that all men are created, again endowed by their Creator with unalienable rights. This will continue to be the cause of our time and that of future generations and of the United States of America. Disappointingly, even to our own country, there are those more than happy to let others shoulder the burden of defending this freedom that we enjoy. Ignorant to our history, those ignorant to our history right now are burning cities all over this land. And as I close out my career, I never thought we'd be at a point in our nation's history where we're witnessing fellow Americans openly disparaging this great nation that's brought hope to the hopeless, burning flags in the streets and condemning America as a terrible place to be. I reject this notion that ours is not a noble nation. We're even looking for answers in the military under the guise that we need to do something, as if pledging your life to defend the Constitution and all it stands for isn't enough. I'm a simple man, and the way I see it, what you're witnessing is a grace problem. But I have a simple solution. Be kind to each other, fight for the defenseless, take care of those in need, love your neighbor, teach your children the principles that founded this great nation. Impress upon others by your example so that they realize you don't have to be in the military to have honor and integrity, or even lay down your life for the person to your right or to your left. These are traits not exclusive to those that have worn the uniform that we wear today, because it's not the cloth that makes the person, it's what's underneath. They're throughout our history traits of being an American. This is a great and noble nation, not perfect at its inception, but striving for perfection and righteousness as immortalized in the preamble of the Constitution with the words, "We the people of the United States, in order to form a more perfect nation, establish justice, ensure domestic tranquility, provide for the common defense, promote the general welfare, and secure the blessings of liberty to establish our posterity, do ordain and establish this Constitution of the United States of America." It's got to mean something. What you're seeing out there today is freedom under attack. I end with this warning from President Ronald Reagan, who said that freedom is never more than one generation from extinction. And we didn't pass it to our children in the bloodstream. It must be fought for, protected, and handed on for them to do the same. Or one day we will spend our sunset years telling our children and our children's children what it was once like in the United States, where men were free. Stick to your core values. Know the Constitution that you swore to defend. Do your jobs. Take care of each other. Remember that we all sin and we all fall short of the glory of God. So stay humble in the process. I will leave you with a word that is written in the Bible. It's from the book of Galatians chapter 5, verse 13. "You, my brothers and sisters, were called to be free, but do not use your freedom to indulge in the flesh. Rather serve one another humbly in love." And Father God, I lift up these mighty warriors that are here today. I thank you for them and the sacrifices that they're making and their families, Father God. Watch over them, protect them, Lord. Let them carry the torch going forward. God bless this great nation. God bless these United States of America. Godspeed and God bless every one of you all. I'm honored to serve, and I pray I've honored you with my service. Thank you.
Well, that's a tough one to follow up, Chief. That was awesome. It's been a pleasure to serve with you. Now, as I sit here to try to find the rest of my well, it's all mixed up. Ladies and gentlemen, you're all standing up. Under attention for the playing of the Air Force song and the departure of our official retired party. Up we go into the wild blue yonder, flying high into the sun. Here they come, shooting the beat of thunder at 'em now, give it a gun. Down we dive, spatting our flames from under, up with one hell of a roar. We live in fame or go down in flame. Hey, nothing can stop the U.S. Air Force. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for coming today. There will be a receiving line to my left here, and thank you all for coming.
We weren't the kind to go looking for the spotlight. We didn't need our hands held. We did our jobs just fine without getting pats on the head. Of course, when something went wrong, or something got busted, yeah, that's when the spotlight found us. The Air Force never did manage to build a plane that would fix itself. We're maintainers, flight line warriors. And when it's not hot, miserable, dirty work, it's cold, miserable, dirty work. We love it. We hate it, but we love it. Because we love this country. We love making things right. We love the challenge. We love the pressure, the deadlines, the long hours. If it was easy, we wouldn't get that rush of accomplishment. We live for that rush, and we get it every day. With our hands, we make that jet fly again. We turn a bunch of metal and circuits back into a missile. We're inside these machines, in the cockpits, in the landing gear, the munitions, the engines, every button every pilot ever pushed. That's us. You think a B-52 has a lot of complicated wires? You've never seen how we're wired. We're part of a team no one on the outside will ever understand. You won't get it until you're in it, until you're one of us. That's our world inside the red line. You enter our world where we tell you. People try to tell us all the time that our jobs are just as important as the pilots. It's not a competition. If we don't do our jobs right, people get hurt. Of course our jobs are important. Do the unsung heroes need to be sung about every now and then? Maybe. But don't sing too long, because with all due respect, we've got work to do. We'll roll our eyes and then we'll roll up our sleeves. We'll get it done, because if we don't get it done, it doesn't get done. We know we're good. We don't want other people to know we're good. We just want them to know that we know. The satisfaction we get, we keep on the inside. We are a special breed, maintainers. We're a team, crazy loyal to our country and tirelessly devoted to our mission. We pull 12s, we work nights and weekends, we don't sleep, and we stick together. If it breaks, we fix it, no matter what. We are the men and women who keep this Air Force flying. We are the driving force. We're the glue, we're the sweat, we're the wrenches in the coffee. And if you want to know the truth, There's only one reason maintainers couldn't fix the whole world. Can't fit the whole world into a hangar. Aim high, Airmen.